We begin the Word today, inspired by the Holy Spirit and written by Paul in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4. Love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. Paul said, love is patient, love is kind to the Corinthian church. The love that he is describing does not come from man. Peter asked Jesus, "How many times shall I forgive my brother when he sins against me? Up to 7 times?" Jesus answered, "Not 7 times, but 70 times 7. Jesus wasn't asking us to count to 70 times 7, but to point out that we need to have enduring love. Enduring love does not come from human nature, but from God. First, we need to allow God to love us. Jesus said, "As I have loved you, love one another." If you have never received love, it is impossible to love one another. We can only love one another to the extent we have experienced the love of the Lord. In other words, the degree that we can love another depends on the degree that we have experienced God's love. If you have never experienced God's love that is patient and kind, you can never be patient and kind toward other brothers and sisters. Paul goes on to say, love does not boast, it is not proud. Boasting and being prideful is the wrong response when we have had received grace. The human nature has the wrong concept of merit. We think that if we receive God's grace, we must be doing pretty well. We often talk about grace, but do not understand that grace comes freely. It is not because we are worthy or because we've earned it. God gives grace at His will and pleasure. Spiritual gifts are not necessarily proportional to our devotional life. The Corinthian church had many spiritual gifts, but had a lot of problems as well. Spiritual gifts and a devotional life both require putting them into practice in order to mature. When we have spiritual gifts, we need God to help us become humble so that His love may overflow in our lives. Next, Paul says, love does not envy. Jealousy is a sour attitude, especially when we see God's grace being given to others. We think, how can God be so generous toward that kind of person? I am so much better. Although we often sing, "Lord, you are the potter, I am the clay. Mold me and make me according to your ways." Whenever we see God blessing others more than ourselves, we feel uncomfortable and are unable to rejoice with others. The root of this attitude is that we think we are more deserving than others. Are not spiritual gifts given to each just as the Holy Spirit determines? We really need to humble ourselves and pray for God's mercy upon us.